Hey, how's it going everyone? My name is Ryan and welcome back to the best moves in Go history. Pleasure to have Mok Jin-seok, 9-dan professional, joining us again. Mok 老师, welcome.
Hello Ryan, hey everyone.
It's so good to have you again. And wow, today we have yet another special episode about world competitions this time.
Yes, and legends of Go.
Right. The legends who play the best moves.
Yes.
Now, since we're talking about world competitions in general, maybe if you could introduce to, also me and the viewers, exactly the current situation for the world competitions. How many are there right now?
Okay, there are 6 individual world championship or competitions. So there are Samsung Cup and LG Cup and Inks Cup and Chunlan Cup and Mong Lily Cup and
Lily,
Fighting Cup.
Fighting
6,
Cup.
yes, 6 individual world championships and we have TV Asian Cup, which is quick game competitions, and we have team competition, which is Nongshim Cup, one of the biggest competition in the world. And we have also minor international competitions, but we say major competition. We have 6 individual and 1 team competition.
The major being that if you win it, you get promoted to 9-dan.
Yes, and you're world champion.
Right. The official world champion status, of course.
Right.
Of course. Now, do these competitions happen every year?
Some of them, I mean, Samsung and LG Cup have every year, and Inks Cup once a 4 year, like Olympic. So someone calls Inks Cup that Go Olympic because they are exactly same year in exactly same year. So Go Olympic, and usually the international competition held in China, they are once in every 2 years. Held in once in every 2 years. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So the Ink Cup being every 4 years, and it's being the biggest world competition. Now, what happened in the first Ink Cup?
Okay. There was a man, the name Ying Changqi. He's Chinese, and he was millionaire, and he was big fan of Go. And in 1988, he said that he is gonna hold this world championship for the first time. And actually, Japan at the time was the number 1 in the world. So Japan opened Fujitsu Cup first, which is the first world championship, world competitions. So anyway, Ink Cup started 1988 also, and invited strong players all over the world. And Nie Wei-ping, which was the number 1 player in China, and Cho Hunhyun, number 1 player in Korea, entered the final. And final was best out of 5. And I'm going to show you and introduce you the last game of final. The score was 2-2.
Wow.
Tied at 2-2, and it was the final match. And there were a lot of behind the story, and it was so important because being world champion, and the prize money for winner was, I'm not good at number, but $400,000.
$100,000
That,
USD.
I mean, you know, imagine $400,000 in 1988.
Oh yeah.
$4,000 are um, already big money nowadays, but imagine in 1988. So it was huge competitions, and you know, the China and Korea fans are, you know, supporting their players, and it was so big. And Ye Wei-ping at the time, he he's already very famous because he beat a lot of Japanese top players in 80s.
There was the China or Japan China Super Championship, I think it was called.
Right. So he won 11 games in a row. So he was very famous at the time and considered #1 player in the world even. And
that series was really interesting because at the time China was I think it was relatively behind the other countries for Go strength. And when Ye Wei-ping won so many games, so it was like a knockout and stay competition between Japan and China, where if you win, you get to continue, just almost like the Nongqing Cup, except only the two countries. Ye Wei-ping won so many times in a row and defeating all these top Japanese players. It really caused a spur of interest in Go in China, where many players, like my father, who was in college at the time, and they all started to learn Go and started to play Go. So that was something that what Ye Wei-ping was known for, is spurring all these Go fans. And he was really big for promoting Go at the time.
Right. So that made him hero, Chinese Go hero, and still he's admired by a lot of professional players. On the other hand, Cho Hunhyun was #1 in the Korea at the time. He dominated more than 15 years in Korea, but since there was no world international competition before Fujitsu Cup or In Cup, so actually no one knew his real, strength or how strong he was. So when he entered the final, he was kind of dark horse. So no one expected him to enter final. And everyone thought Ye Wei-ping will win easily. But actually, Cho Hunhyun at the time was very strong, but there was no chance to prove his
and as you
level.
say, he dominated in Korea for 15 years. So that must show his strength. Now, is the Go at the time? I'm wondering how the Go atmosphere was like in Korea.
It was getting higher and higher. Go population was increasing, mainly because Cho Ji-hoon, because he is Korean and he went to Japan when he was a little boy, and he started to win big titles in Japan, and Koreans were supporting him, rooting him, and the Go in 80s was already a very popular, and even more, it gets even more popular in 90s because of Cho Hunhyun and Lee Chang-ho. So this match decided, how do I say, this Cho Hunhyun won this match, and the Go in Korea got like how do I
It must have went really high up, right? When with a world champion.
Right. So I remember when I was 9 years old, and I watched the news, and they was saying, Cho Hunhyun won In Cup, and I was so happy to hear that because I was already insane at the time, and I was so proud of him. Okay, then let's jump into the game. this is the last game, last final match, final of final. So there are many stories about this game. I read books and articles, and both of them have, at the time couldn't sleep well because the pressure, burden. So in some books they describe their faces. You can tell how nervous they are. You can tell how stressful.
Were they red faced?
They have, yes.
Flushed.
Especially in Yeo Ping's side, I think he had more burden and more pressure because everyone expected him to win, of course, and everyone thought he'll win easily. So he had more burden, I think. So, yeah, if you look at the game, this game showed the character of both players. So Cho Hunhyun, he is known for very pace-oriented opening, and his movement was very quick, and you can see he has a lot of territory, and actually his nickname at the time was Swallow, the bird Swallow, because his movement was so quick.
Just so light and fast-paced type of game.
Yes. And on the other hand, Yeo Ping, he plays thick and kind of slow, but save his power or thickness and chase your opponent and win keep balance and win at the end game. It was his style. So this game showed their character. Black gained a lot of territories and take care of weak groups. So in actual game, White attached here, and now Black is slightly leading this game, but White has to use White's thickness to chase, so gain some point in end game. So White attached here and tried to attack the weaker group on the right corner, upper right corner, and Black played here and here, defend center. And White tried to cut these 4 stones, so meaning attack this group, attack these 4 stones and gain some points here. Or if it can, try to kill this group. So Black is winning territory, so Black has to take care of these weak stones. So Hanet. Usually in this kind of situation, the normal move will be just block it. And I think it was proper move. And then it'll Black is slightly leading, but it might have been a long game, so close game, quite close game. But at that time, Yeo Ping was trying to attack this group, so he jumped to the here, but which was not a good move. Even if Black just attach, this stone cannot escape, because if cut, tried to escape, but there's no way to escape, and White has only 3 liberties. So
why didn't Black capture it?
I don't know. I don't understand. Maybe he Cho Hunhyun found that variation that he actually played in actual game. Maybe he thought, okay, the both way it's possible, and maybe I didn't ask him. I never had the chance to ask him. But in actual game, he just connected, which is also fine, because the goal of Black is not gain points, but just save this group. So if black leave, then black is winning. So
Also, white is losing a lot of corner territory.
yes, and at this point you can see black has already one eye here. If black blocks and tiger's mouth, black already have center one eye for center, and all you have to do is make another eye in the center. So at this point, Cho Hunhyun found the way to finish this game. So actually, just make another eye isn't that difficult. If you, for example, Kosumi here and something like this, you can make another eye easily. It's not that difficult. But yeah, he played here, which was I said winning move for this game. Black is already leading this game, but this move, I'd say, finish the game. He already knew that with this move, there's no way white can capture black stones. So it looks kind of dangerous because you have to make eye in the center, but this move help white extend, so your eye shape is getting smaller. But in the actual game, he played this one, Nisente, and Kosumi. All white can do is just try to cut this whole group, because otherwise white already lost some points in the corner. So all white can do is just keep attacking. But after this exchange, black played the last move of this game, which is one of famous move for Korean fans. And I think sometimes I think about how nervous and how excited when Cho Hunhyun played this move, because when you play a move and it can decide, and it can, when you play a move and it makes you a world champion, and it'll be once a lifetime thing. So or maybe a lot of most of professional players that don't have experience, include me. So when he played the last move, which is this one, I think how thrilled and how excited he must feel. And you have to be careful because I show you the variation. This move can capture these 5 stones and save this group. If white plays here, of course there's no way white can escape. If I play this side, and then white only has 2 liberty, white cannot cut.
Right.
But you have to be really careful. If play here instead of that move played in actual game, then winner will change, because if you play here, white has great move wedge, and if black Atari Sente, and white can escape, that means this whole group, black's group, will die. So you have to be very, very careful. So he played here in actual game, and white resigned. So the first in cup went to the Cho Hunhyun, and it was his maybe the prime and maybe the highest achievement of his career, and one of a big moment of for Korean Go.
I think the best achievement of his career must be Lee Chung-ho,
Right.
because that's his
yes, of course.
That's his student, right?
Yeah,
just in my opinion.
Yeah, not only he won a lot of world championship, but he taught Lee Chang-ho. He has, great student, and because of these two players, Cho Hunhyun and Lee Chang-ho, Go in Korea became super strong and super popular. So thanks for them. And I was a boy, and when I was study Go, learn Go, Cho Chi-hun and Cho Hunhyun was my idol. So I have huge respect for those old generation legends, include Cho Hunhyun, Cho Chi-hun, or Takemiya, all of them old legend. So I have huge respect for them.
I think this game was very not in terms of like the move, but that the actual moment when we relive it. In that this move was just so huge. It finished the game. It was the last game of game. It was game 5 of the first In-Cup, the first biggest Go World Championship ever, and this move finished it. What a moment!
It meant a lot. It meant a lot to every Go community in the world.
It did. It did.
Okay, second game I want to show you was Chunlan Cup, which is still there's Chunlan Cup, and this game was played in 1999, a long time ago. And
so fast forward 11 years now from the previous.
Yes, Cho Hunhyun versus Lee Chang-ho, teacher and student. So I'd like to briefly talk about Cho Hunhyun's childhood life. So he became professional player when he was 9 years old. Can you imagine, 9 years old?
Wow.
It was world record for now, and in Korea. And after 1 year, he went to Japan, and he spent 10 years in Japan. 10 or 9 years old, I'm not sure. Around 10 years in Japan, and he came back because he had to go to military service. So he came back to Korea, and he started to play in Korea, and he dominated Korean Go for more than 15 years. And as you already mentioned, he had students who dominated the world later. So he's Lee Chang-ho, as you already know. So we just showed this In-Cup final, and he won In-Cup 98 in 1989. And in domestic competition, he started to lose to Lee Chang-ho, and slowly, one by one, Lee Chang-ho took almost every title from Cho Hunhyun.
When did Lee Chang-ho start learning from Cho Hunhyun?
84, when Lee Chang-ho was 9 years old, and Lee Chang-ho became professional 1986, and he won his first title in 89, the domestic title, and started to challenge Cho Hunhyun. And around 91, 92, Lee Chang-ho already started to, win more matches, more finals against Cho Hunhyun. So in mid 90s, 94, 95 at the time, Lee Chang-ho is number 1 in Korea already, and Cho Hunhyun lost all of most his title to Lee Chang-ho. And I mentioned his nickname was Swallow. He was so pace oriented. If compared to boxing, he's like jab, and you cannot catch him. You there's nothing you can do. But Lee Chang-ho, he can keep balance with Cho Hunhyun and win the game in end game.
Oh.
So Cho Hunhyun struggled a lot because every match Cho Hunhyun was leading, but at end game, Lee Chang-ho will come back and win the game by half point, 1.5 points, and it hurts Cho Hunhyun a lot.
That's so interesting because the student he had. Also, Lee Chang-ho was such a genius because just as you probably can tell from the years, like after a few years he already became pro, and then just a few years after he started already to challenge his teacher. That's so interesting.
So Cho Hunhyun had to change his style from scratch. I mean, he had like outboxing style, but he had to change his style. So he started to fight a lot and very intensely. He became an intense fighter. Wow. So his game become super intense. So media gave him a nickname like God of Fight.
Oh.
So he turned his eyes to international competitions because in Korea he couldn't do anything about Lee Chang-ho. He lost almost every final to Lee Chang-ho, and he turned his eyes to international competitions, and he won his second world competition in 1993, which is Fuji Cup. 1994, which is Fuji Cup, and 1997 he won another one, and I think he's really special player because he won 4 world championship in late of his prime time. I mean, in his late 40s. Can you imagine? In his late 40s, he won 4 international competition from 1999 to 2003. And this one is Chunlan Cup final against Lee Chang-ho. It's best out of 3, and the score was 1-1. Another final match of World Championship. So, yeah, I think as I already mentioned, he's amazing player, truly amazing. He has fighting spirit. So even though he was in his late 40s, he still could compete highest level in the world, which is truly amazing.
Yeah, I think in Go, typically nowadays after maybe even when you're like 35 or even 30, I think many players you can start to see them not being in their prime anymore. So that's really amazing.
You know, actually nowadays it's even you turned 30, media said you're old player. So yeah, it changed a lot. You know, when it's last century, I mean 80s and 90s, 30 years old, it's like, you know, young player.
Yeah, I remember. I remember when Sakata. I think Sakata said once that a Go player reaches their prime at around 40.
Yeah, after 40. Yeah, you have to experience a lot of things in your life, and then you finally become strong. But things changed a lot, you know. These days, 40 years old means you're a senior player.
Right.
And even you turn 30, you know, media said you're old player. So so I think what Cho Hunhyun achieved was truly amazing.
What do you think is causing that? Like the shift, you know, in Go age.
I think the environment that, you know, learning Go is nowadays it's much convenient and much you can have many information very easily. So when I remember when I was around 10, I was a kid. At that time, Japan was the strongest country in Go, and in order to review their like Cho Chi-hoon's game or Kobayashi's game, you have to go to Korean Go Association and ask them to give me one game record and copy it, and it's like, oh my god, I have it, and I review it. But these days you can see on live with your smartphone or with your laptop, and you can also analyze with AI, so it's much convenient, and so many information you can get very easily.
It's much more accessible.
So it shorten the time you become strong.
But it's interesting that since Go is not like it's not a physical sport, right? You don't really have problems with your, like body, like cardio or anything. So why is it that you start declining?
Yeah, I've thought this topic a lot, and I've talked about it with other players, and mainly it's because your life changes when you're around 30 years old. You have to you get married and you have children, and your life changes. And if you can just focus on training and you can keep training hard and intensely, I think you can compete at high level for a long time. And that was actually my goal when I turned 30 years old. And I still believe if one player, he doesn't have to care about other things in life, and just focus on training and competing, and then his career will be very long. I mean, he can keep his prime or his peak for a long time, relatively long time.
There are many distractions in life, and I can say for that.
Yeah.
But I think what you did was really you won the KBS Cup very recently. So
it was GS Cup.
GS Cup
2015, and yeah, I won my first big title in 2000, and it took 15 years to win another big title.
But I think you can speak for that, because I think you're still relatively, like your strength is still really, really high in Korea.
Actually, now from beginning of 2020, I have contraction with Korean Go Association that I just focus on managing the Korean team. I don't play my own competitive matches. So I missed the match. I can say I missed the competing, but now I'm focusing on just managing a national team. So anyway, Cho Hunhyun at the time was 46 years old, and he was one of top player in the world at the time, and his opponent was Lee Chang-ho. So yeah, let's just look at the game. White just exchange this one and connect. So your first move you can think about is just approach, which is looks very normal and kind of, you can think about it very easily. But if you can see, this invasion is very severe. I mean, it's very urgent and very important. So you have to find a way to get sente. Also, you have to protect this white group in on the top side. So if you just approach, there's chance black just ignore and invade here, which is very big move. So these two groups will divide it and maybe black could attack this one of these groups.
That seems to give black a good way to use that influence.
Yes, yes. So what Cho Hunhyun played here showed his genius, and he always think outside of the box. So at that time, enter the 3 point wasn't normal. It wasn't normal at that time. And in the actual game he played here, which was no one even thought about that.
Mm.
I mean, enter the 3 point in the beginning or in the opening wasn't that good idea. It considered weird or you're, But in this point, in this situation, enter 3 point was really good move because if black blocks from here, this group is already safe and you can play here, which is you want to get a center and play here, which white can satisfy.
Mm-hmm.
Or if black block from this side is also actually they was saying if white play just normally it's okay for white. I mean, if white plays something like here and exchange this one first and exchange this one, and this group is relatively safe, and then play here. It's already better for white, and there was saying that if Cho Hunhyun plays, if black blocks, maybe Cho Hunhyun will cut this one even and start to fight. That's what people said at the time, but I don't know what he was planning to. Was he plan to cut or hane? Either way, it's fine for white. So after the match, actually, Lee Chang-ho said he didn't expect this move, and it was a really nice move. And because he expected something like this, and then he could invade this one first, and then gain some point. And if black gets the point and gets center, he can play like this and make some points, make some territory in the upper right corner, which means there are high possibility to become a close game. So Cho Hunhyun didn't want to.
That's what all of Lee Chang-ho's opponents don't want, the close game with him.
Yes. So he entered this one, which a lot of people say this was great move. And even Lee Sedol, a few years later, admired this move, and he said, "Wow, this was really nice move." So Lee Chang-ho couldn't block either side because if he blocks, white will get center anyway. So in the actual game, he played here. Oh, I forgot to tell you that if white just played here, Tenuki, black could either play this one and this one. So black can make territory in the upper right corner and try to, for example, attack this white stones after that. Or black could play something like this, and then black can make a lot of territory here. So this move showed the ability to think outside of the box, and Lee Chang-ho played here, meaning if you keep answering it, this exchange is already good for black, and if you think this way, that means you played this exchange, two exchange, which is good for black. And of course, Cho Hunhyun wasn't the player. He wasn't the player who answered your opponent's move. He always reject your opponent's will. Your opponent's he doesn't play what his opponent want to play. So he played here, ignored, and this. It looks strange, but this one is necessary because if black keep playing, take this one stone, white can escape escape to outside. So in actual game, he played something like this, and black invaded here and became another fight. But you can see it was originally black's corner. Black had a start point here, but already white took the corner, and I'll show you few more moves. So it became something like this. White got a lot of point here. I mean, upper right corner and right side, and even these white stones in the upper side settled down and played here. So I think this game showed his old style. I mean, very pace oriented, and media called him Swallow. So this game showed his old style again. He didn't play intense fighting style this game. He showed his pace, and he showed the new idea, because the 3-3 wasn't that common at the time. It was hard to think about enter the 3-3 point. So it was another classic match, and Cho Hunhyun won this game by 2.5 points, and he won another world championship.
I think, yeah, the 3-3 invasion was definitely a teacher smack move whenever I played it, because in the opening we never really thought about that. I think it's generally considered that we give the opponents influence, and the corner wasn't considered to be that big. So that was a very interesting moment to suddenly go into the 3-3. I guess nowadays, if we play this move, we wouldn't be as surprised. But at the time, right. I think this is a truly... I guess it's a very creative moment.
Yes. He's creative, and he's always has strong fighting spirit. I mean, I played against Cho Hunhyun a lot of time, and of course with Lee Chang-ho. Actually, I checked my career result, and I played more than 1,600 games, and I won more than 1,000 games, and I lost more than 500 matches. And in my more than 500 losses, I lost 10% of game, more than 10% of game against these two players, Lee Chang-ho and Cho Hunhyun, more than 50 times. So they made my life harder. I'm kidding. I have a huge respect for them.
That's really interesting. I mean, looking back, do you think you like enjoyed having them as like strong players that you would parry with and learn together from?
Of course, it's really. I think it's all sports. It's good thing you have a certain goal and you try to achieve the goal and try to chase the goal. So, I mean, in my early 20s, or from teenager to my early 20s and in my 20s, my goal was chase the Lee Chang-ho and defeat him. But actually, my first title in 2000 was against Lee Chang-ho, and after that, I entered many finals. But most of the time, my opponent in the final was Lee Chang-ho, so I lost 5 or 6 finals against him.
Oh.
So, but I learned a lot from him when we played the game, because we have such a different style of game. So, I think once I mentioned this one, I want to fight. I'm kind of I like to have a intense fight in the middle game, but he never fight with you in the middle game. He just compromise and keep balance, and it becomes close game. So that's the one thing I don't have, actually. I don't have that judgment, end game, and patience that Lee Chang-ho have. And on the other hand, Cho Hunhyun at the time, when I became a professional in mid 90s, he was already a god of fight. So he's kind of the player I wanted to play. Even I have very negative result, negative head against him. But every time I played against him, I was like, oh my god, this is exciting. I mean, I learned a lot from him. That idea and the game. I learned a lot from both of these players.
That's very interesting, and I think Lee Chang-ho just has one of those styles where it's just so hard to play against,
Yes.
and it's also very rare. I think it's hard to have such delicate balance that he always upkeeps, and combined with his absolutely world-class endgame, he was just impossible to take down.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for sharing these with us. I think I just really think it's really amazing that you're here to share all these stories with us. Because keep in mind, these were like really at the very top of Go at the time, and just Mu Laoshi here sharing all these stories with us. We really learned a lot about Cho Hunhyun today, and also Lee Chang-ho, and also we'd be really curious to hear more about your career also in the future.
Okay, maybe next time.
That over 75% win rate, though, that is really amazing, I think, in your career. Okay, I think that's all for this episode. Do drop a like if you enjoyed, and do suggest the games that you would like us to go over as well. And with that, we will catch you in the next video.
Thank you.